As the President Joachim said, we need also to have an interreligious panel here to, as say in the text, we need to the interfaith representative with a dialogue on how pathways of collaboration can be enhanced, developed, and implemented to support, advocate, and partner for ending this malnutrition and to promote the good nutrition. So I write a text, and after we can discuss in a general sense, but also I want to be inspired by the prayer that the founder of our religion, the Christians, teach for his disciples. Give us this day our daily bread. Speak about the bread, and it's our subject. On the basis of ecumenical interreligious dialogue, today believers and religious leaders are called to act together in promoting and defending human dignity, solidarity, and social justice. We feel compelled to act together to transform the so-called globalization of indifference into the globalization of solidarity, love, and peace. The globalization of indifference leads to the food crisis denounced clearly in this meeting. We know that nearly 1 billion people today are still struggling to even have the most basic caloric and protein intake every day. According to the official dates, as calculated by the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, about 1 in 7 people on the planet is still caught in chronic debt, hunger, as insufficient caloric and protein intake. This has to be put in the context of a still rapidly growing world population that is very likely to exceed 9 billion people by mid-century. So the first thing we need is innovation for sustainable and inclusive transformation and well-being to produce a reliable and sure food supply that can meet the base needs of the world population. Closely related to this is the fact that at least 2 billion of people, in addition to those classified as living in chronic hunger, are suffering from other forms of malnutrition. Moreover, at least 1 billion of people are suffering from serious micronutrient deficiencies of vitamins A, D, B9, zinc, and other micronutrients. Another billion of top of that are suffering from obesity and diabetes. We can thus realistically say that perhaps 3 billion of the 7 billion people on the planet today suffer from serious malnutrition. So today we have a new moral imperative that comes from religion, reason, and sciences to try to promote a healthy diet for all the men and women of our planet and to act as partner to ending malnutrition. Thanks to the natural science and the two social sciences, we know many things that we did not know about healthy eating. However, in order to apply this moral imperative and this new knowledge to ending malnutrition in a global way, we need the ethical values of the dignity of the person and the common good to overcome individualism and economic interests. For this, I allow myself to comment on the prayer that Christ taught us, mentioning our daily bread. Give us, say the prayer, like children who trust their Father for everything beautiful. He makes his sun rise on the evil and on the good, and send rain on the just and on the unjust, say the Gospel of Matthew. He gives to all the living the food in due season, say the Psalms, that we are also with the Jewish tradition. Jesus teaches us to make this request because it glorifies our Father by acknowledging how good he is beyond all form of goodness. Give us, say also, our daily bread. And with this express agreement with the human people and participation, we are his and he is our for our participation. But this us also recognize him as a father of all men and women, and we pray to him for them all in solidarity and justice with the needs and suffering, especially in relation of food and death. Our bread, because the Father who gives us life cannot fail to give us the nourishment life requires. All the appropriate goods and blessing, both material and spiritual. In the Sermon of the Mount, that is one of the projects of the special of this Pope, Jesus insists on the filial trust that cooperates with our Father's providence, with faith and reason, pray and work. He is not inviting us to inactivity. St. Paul says, if anyone was unwilling to work, neither should that one eat. But the Father wants to relieve us from nagging or irrational worrying and anxiety. So we are invited to collaborate with God to have our daily bread. But the presence of those who go hungry because they have no bread open up another profound meaning of this request, our daily bread. The tragedy of the world hunger called Christians and Jews and all people of faith who pray sincerely to be responsible for their brothers and sisters, both in the personal behavior and in solidarity with the human family. These requests contained in the Lord's Prayer cannot be isolated from the parables of the Gospel of the poor man Lazarus, that no received nothing for the rich, or of the last judgment that is in Matthew 25. What you do with the people to have hungry. As a living in the thought, the new kingdom should make the earth rise through the Spirit of Christ. This must be manifested by the establishment of justice in personal and social, economic, and international relations, without forgetting that there can be not just fair structures without fair people. Human beings must follow the rule indicated by faith and reason, whether faith and reason, special reason, whether be philosophical or scientific. Just we are guided by science in the issues of climate change, so must we be guided by scientific reasons in matter of bread, food, and nutrition. This is a new moral imperative. Our daily bread is the one participated by the many. In the Beatitudes of this Sermon of the Mount of Christ, poverty is a virtue to sharing or participation. It calls us to communicate and share both material and spiritual good, not for coaction, but for love, so that the abundance of some may remake the needs of the others, say Paul. Faith and reason, and pray and work, as say the Benedict rules, we need to do and we need to follow. Saint Ignazio, the inspirator of the order of the Holy Father Francis, say, pray as if everything depends on God, and work, so following faith and reason, as if everything depends on you. Even when we have done with faith and reason on our work, the food we receive and do is still a gift from our Father. It is good to thank Him from it, as Jewish and Christian families do when saying grace at meals. This request, with the responsibility it involves, also applies to another hunger for which men and women are perceiving, and this is important, this other hunger of the truth and of the good that is symbolized in the bread, because if we don't have this dimension of life, it's not easy to have the dimension of the human person and dimension of the common good and the dimension of the participation to the others. So in the bread, we have the concentration of the bread that we need to realize our life, but also a symbol of the bread that we need to have a good life and to have a happy life. Thank you very much.